Sul, Katikalu. So I've always loved the idea of having Sims be closer neighbours, to have multiple homes on one lot without having to play with all the households at the same time. And now I've finally got the For Rent expansion pack. Yes, I'm late to the party. It's time to make those wishes come true. And since I've been watching way too many rom-coms lately, I want to make a pair of houses for the classic trope of falling in love with the guy next door. So I made a couple of families to inspire that build too. So we have what the build will eventually become in the corner there. And I did this over a few evenings, learning that I spend way too long picking out swatches, windows and fences and furniture. So I cut out so much of that because boy do I sit and stare at sofas and all that kind of stuff for several minutes at a time. So here we are building in San Sequoia for the Ellisons, who are Magnolia, Kaleb, Kai and Cleo, and the Fernandeses, Lucia, Dante, Reina and Julian. The story is essentially that Reina is a classic clumsy teen movie girl who's developed a crush on her neighbour. So he's been one of her closest friends her entire life. And in my game they have a few sentiments, but I don't think relationship levels and sentiments carry over on the gallery, unfortunately. But Reina currently has a crush on Kai, and Kai has the I know they've got my back sentiment for Reina. So who knows whether Reina will get her heart broken with the crush not being reciprocated, or if their friendship will blossom into something else. So I kind of built the homes around the treehouse item, which I love, it's so cute. And in my head I thought in the past, maybe when they were kids, Reina and Kai would kind of hang out up there, and now they're teens, they meet there when they want to rant or just get away from the world. And since the item is two trees holding up the treehouse, I thought it'd be really cool to have a tree on each side of their fences to divide the two homes. So it's as if they both have the opportunity to climb up there from their own homes and meet in the middle, even if the stairs up are on the Fernandes' side of the property. So this house we're building now is the Fernandes'. Right here I had a little kind of garage conversion there. Originally I had it as a standard, kind of one of my usual Sim suburban house builds, but I really wanted to add that garage in there just for a bit of visual difference to my usual builds, and also adding that little conservatory side bump out there extension. Essentially the idea is that that garage the Fernandeses at some point converted to make a big open plan space with the living room up front and the dining space and the kitchen towards the back, which you'll see when we get in there later. So at this point we're just adding all the external features to this kind of suburban classic. We're adding some stone and some panelling and all that kind of wooden effects and everything. Trying to add a bit of texture around, and I always have to use loads of bump outs so that it doesn't look too flat, so otherwise I get, like, my mind doesn't enjoy it. So while I finish up the outside, let's maybe introduce the first sim. So with all the sims I tried to give them two positive and useful traits and one minor inconvenience trait. So we start with Lucia Fernandes. She is the mother of the Fernandes family. She has the freelance botanist aspiration. She's self-assured and loves the outdoors, but she is high maintenance. So she's close with her husband Dante. She's supportive of her daughter Reina and permissive with Julian. So they're their little family dynamic setup. If you have growing together, you can set up those. She likes the colours brown, pink and red. She likes retro music, singer-songwriter music, but doesn't like tween pop music. She doesn't like ambitious sims. She likes cerebral sims. She likes family motivated sims, and she likes hard-working sims. She likes nature enthusiasts, doesn't like pessimistic sims, and she likes spirited sims. And then she also doesn't like deception. She likes deep thoughts. She likes discussing hobbies. She doesn't like potty humour, and she doesn't like pranks. She likes gardening, doesn't like mischief, and doesn't like programming. So that's all her likes and dislikes. She is level 7 in the gardening career, an anther artist, and I've also set up some skills for her. She's got cooking 5, charisma 3, gardening 8, handiness 4, fishing 5, logic 5, herbalism 6, parenting 4, and flower raging 7. So that's our first sim. And now here we have hopped into the inside of the house. So we see here we have this kind of split levelling at the back, and I wanted to kind of create a bit of separation because I had to level up the right hand side to make the garage and the kind of step up into the house viable. So essentially I extended that little step across the entire back, which becomes the kitchen area, which then steps down into the living area. We'll hop back outside now to try and do something with the extensions. Oh yes, we extend it a bit more to add a bit more space. It actually fits like a dining table fully in that section. And then I spent forever picking out fences and things, so I do cut that out, thankfully. We had a bit of a patio area back there. Adding some pathways in now and finishing off some building work. Yes, so we hop back into the fencing here. Rather than doing a fence all the way across, and since we have our gardener as our mother of the household, I decided to break up some of the fencing with these hedges. I think they're from, not backyard stuff, what's the one with the Perfect Patio? I think they're from Perfect Patio. It's like my favourite item and probably the only one I really frequently use from that pack. I thought I do like some of the outdoor cooking stuff from that. But anyway, we add some little bins in here, and I really like the idea of having that kind of pathway out to the road to drag the bins to, rather than like, I know they don't move the bins and no one comes to collect the bins. It's The Sims, but I like the idea that maybe they have somewhere to drag them out to the curb to leave for the bin man. So for all like the planting and stuff, like you can see here, I wanted it to all be quite curated and looks kind of well kept and not too messy, because obviously we have a gardener in the house. A flower arranger in the house, so she would keep that all quite on tip-top shape. Meanwhile, when we start the next door neighbours, it's all a bit more free-flowing and creative, because it's a much more creative, painter, artisty kind of household. So you will see just then I finished that little bit on the inside to create the kind of split levelling, and now we're adding a bit of an extension out the back to add more space for that and fixing up the roof and things. Oh, adding a couple of trees as well to add some visual interest to the front of the property and hide that space that we don't want to do anything with. Trees really are such a saving grace in The Sims, but you know, they add such a nice pretty look to the front of houses and the back and everything, don't they? Otherwise, if you don't keep your trees in, they just look really bare. So we're adding some terrain painting around the trees and bushes and everything, and some little flowers for the bottom of the trees, which I know a lot of people like to do in The Sims. Just makes them look a bit more I guess grounded, a bit more integrated in with the grass. And then we're rotating around the back here to add in essentially everything from the front porch to the back, so that, you know, the stairs and the columns and everything, just to make it match. And now we're hopping into the inside to do the kitchen. So we're adding in, at the moment it's just placeholder counters, but I do end up keeping those exact counters, just switching up the colour. Actually what ends up being like a blue theme, I think. And then we're hopping in to put in some stairs and sink those down, so there's a nice little way to step in to the living room area. Nice bit of separation, and popping in some windows now that I know where the counters are going to be, so that, you know, nothing would end up covering them like a fridge or something, between the upper and lower cabinets. And yeah, that's pretty much the rough, that's kind of just exactly how the kitchen stays in that order, just with a different colour pattern really. And we're putting those stairs in that side and adding a desk. It's where a little nook will go for studying later on. And putting in some half walls to, instead of like fencing, to separate, you know, kid friendly and all that. You know, you don't want the kids to fall down the stairs. So now we're moving on to the entryway. So we're actually doing some proper decorating now, rather than place holding. So we add in a lovely little coat area and some bags and the classic umbrella stand, which I always forget to actually use as an item rather than decorative. It's I always forget you can actually use that in game. We add in a little side table where, you know, you drop your letters and all that kind of stuff, and just a general entryway really. Some shoes on the ground, nothing crazy going on. It's just very, very simple. Coat rack, you know, bit of clutter, plants. Obviously, she's a gardener. The one thing I will say, I feel like I ended up putting so many plants in the next door neighbours, even though they're not gardeners, but you know, it's what it is. And then we set up our theme, kind of colour theme, the downstairs, which all ends up really, really blue. I thought I might add a bit more difference in here, but it really does end up just being a blue inside. So we pop that blue in, and actually that blue changes to a slightly different blue once I choose the kitchen counters, just so they match a bit better. So we're colouring in the stairs there to a nice brown to match the floor, adding in what will become, well, a placeholder for what will be a little desk nook. here we go, picking out, we go for white, we think, oh yeah, white's a good idea against the blue, but instead we end up putting in some white tiles, so we switch the counters to blue. So do the reverse essentially. There we go, pop in that blue on there. I really love that blue. Popping in the oven and the sink. So it's all like just it's, in my head it's as if they bought this house and they have fully converted it into like just a modern family home. So obviously, like I said, the garage will have been converted to open it up into that big open living dining space at the bottom that you should step down into from the kitchen, and then at some point obviously they will have completely ripped out and redone this kitchen to a modern style because of this whole walking away area. Add some stools for a little breakfast bar moment, and now we clutter everything up a bit. So while we clutter everything up, why don't we introduce the father of the family, which is Dante Fernandes. So Dante wants to be a best-selling author, that's his aspiration. He's creative, a bookworm, and his other trait is squeamish. Obviously he likes to keep all the outdoor adventure of the world inside his head. He's not much of a get out there and do it kind of guy. So relationship-wise, he's close with his wife Lucia, permissive with his daughter Reina, and jokesters with his son Julian. His favourite colours are blue and purple, and he likes alternative music, blues music, doesn't like electronica, but he likes jazz. He doesn't like argumentative sims, he likes cerebral sims, he likes family motivated sims, and he doesn't like high energy sims. He likes affection, doesn't like complaints, likes flirtation, doesn't like small talk, which is interesting when he likes flirtation, but nonetheless. He likes cooking, doesn't like handiness, doesn't like video gaming, but likes writing, of course. So for his job, he is an author level 7, which I think is a novelist. And his skills are writing level 8, cooking, comedy 4, parenting 4, singing 3, dancing 4, mixology 4, logic 5, cooking 5, charisma 6, and research and debate 5. So I figure he researches a lot for his stories. So here we hop down and we are going in with the little dining spot. Put those lights up there, but then realise later that it doesn't make sense for them to be there because it's a glass roof. It's pointless, so I pull them over the living room instead. So there's a little centrepiece. We keep the blue theme in there, the blue and white and wood. Just carries around really the entire ground floor. And here we are trying to choose our little living suite. So we go for one big sofa and a chair. That chair moves around to the other side. At least it does, there it goes. And we pop our little rug down. And then eventually I will put in some built-in shelves around the TV. Well, they're not really built-in. It's too rather than use the dream home decorator, or I think they have some in high school years as well. Proper built-ins. I decided just to go like to either side. They're not built-in at all. What am I talking about? 2 shelves that just surround the TV. It's such a tall wall, and I thought I'd never get a chance to use these really nice bookshelves. So I pop them in there, and then we look to clutter them up. That's the only downside, is that they have really big holes, so you have to clutter them up to not look like really empty. So we put in some games up there, a little clock, and the plant will go in there as well. Loads of clutter I've just kind of dragged out, ready to find out where I want it to go and what's going to actually stay and go. I can't remember, but yeah. So we pop a little plant and little boxes there. Basically everything from Dream Home Decorator is so good for cluttering. See those little boxes, I use them everywhere all the time. But I do love those little game piles from them growing together as well. They're really fun. So here we also have another plant and a little growing together figurine. And I love that little item. I think it's from Parenthood, the little painted flower set. So I figure, the kids at some point will have made it and they never want to get rid of it because it's just so special, like those mugs you make in primary school or something that they keep for probably way too long until they eventually break. Pop some candles in as well, make it a bit more warm. Just cluttering up the room in general to add a bit more, personality, a bit more warmth, a bit more like the family actually lived there. And we also end up adding kind of like a little kids section. We're putting some toys under there right now actually. So we have a little kids section on the left, just a toy box. It's not actually a real toy box. Actually, I wish that was a real toy box. So in The Sims, that's just a kind of like it's just a cluttered toy box, isn't it? It's not one of the ones you can actually use, but I think that would be perfect as an item. But I suppose it doesn't have the lift off reach in feature that it needs to function like the other ones do. So here we hop over to this little kind of back exit entry walkway, adding just basic things around there to clutter it up. Got some plants, and I never really used those plants actually, so it was nice to feature them. Plants and a mirror. Why you'd be checking yourself out while you walk that way, I don't know, but it looked good. So now we work on this little, I guess, study area. I don't believe that the kids have any computers in their own room, so this would be where they do all their homework and stuff, in my head anyway. So adding some more little planty areas around. Obviously we had a little wreath above the door back there, and then we're adding just this nice little plant pot standing area here. Popping some little cards up and a little speaker for whenever you want to put music on, or when you Sims just leave it on all day and you have to go keep turning it off because they won't stop it. And then we're adding these wonderful curtains. They're probably the best curtains in the game for a modern-ish build, from the Desert Lux kit, which we got for free, which was very nice because I only have the packs, the kits that are free. I haven't bought any actual kits myself. They just don't feel big enough to buy for £5. It's just not really worth it personally. I prefer to buy an expansion or a stuff pack or something, or a game pack, and wait off for those rather than buying a kit for that much. So here we are moving upstairs. We fill in with all the same paintway just for that little landing area, and then we will set up the landing as another little like nook space. So this is for the father we mentioned earlier. So for Dante, he's obviously a writer, so this is his writing area. I couldn't really fit like an actual room. I mean, I could have blocked it off, I suppose, but it makes it a bit cramped. So this is his little kind of working area. So in the corner here we have this just kind of reading area, I suppose, where we just add books upon books upon books on those three rows of shelves. And then on the other side we have a little working area, so his desk and his computer and all that kind of stuff with an old typewriter and stuff set up on there, just as, for aesthetic value. So this is where he would work from and do all his writing. So there we go. Gosh, so many books to raise. So yeah, I pull up all these books, raise them all awkwardly, as you can see, and then add in, change all the swatches to different colours just to make it look like they're all different books. I don't have the book, what's it called, the book of the library kit or whatever it was, but you can actually make things work quite well without it if you just change all the colours with it. So I finish off the top shelf there, got some plants and things around to separate up the books a little bit, so it's not just books upon books. So yes, we add a little footstool in, and then rotate ourselves to add a little banister rather than it being a hard wall there, so you peer over the edge. So there's the desk little area I was talking about before, little cosy rug in there as well. You want to rub your toes in that fluff. So we changed up the colour scheme slightly. So we thought we're going for like a yellow blue, but we ended up going for this black and blue, which is a bit kind of like warmer, a bit more academic. I don't know, well, that's what it is in my head anyway. Swapped out that desk so many times to end up with this one from Dream Home Decorator, and then clutter up that with a speaker and some books and things, obviously. Adding the doorways in, and we enter into Reina's room. So while we set up her room with this really nice red kind of edgy colour palette, in my head she's a slightly rocker and emo. So we put in that telescope, which I don't think you can actually use indoors, but it's more for just the look of it anyway, because she's a smarty pants and likes to look at the night sky. Maybe she'll be a scientist, rocket, or otherwise in the future. And the little light up mirror, it just feels like the ultimate item for the teenage bedroom, which goes with some fairy lights later on as well. So let's learn a little bit more about Reina while we decorate her room. So Reina is a nerd brain, and she is a genius, but she's clumsy. As we learned earlier, her dad is permissive with her and her mum is supportive, but she has a difficult relationship with her brother Julian, and that's because their personalities really clash. He's much more like playground, boisterous, running about, while she's very much a studious academic, listening to her alt music in her room. So she likes black, orange and red. She likes alternative music, but she doesn't like tween pop. She doesn't like ambitious Sims, she likes cerebral Sims, but she doesn't like emotional decision makers, and she likes idealist Sims. She likes deep thoughts and discussing interests, but she doesn't like malicious interactions or pranks. She likes programming, research and debate, robotics, and rocket science. She is a grade A student and a member of the chess team. And skill-wise, she has Charisma 2, Gardening 3, Programming 4, Cooking 3, Logic 6, Rocket Science 2, Video Gaming 3, Writing 3, Archaeology 2, Robotics 2, and Research and Debate 4. So then we move across to doing the parents' bedroom, which is very much in a purple colourway, inspired by the dad's favourite colours actually. And here we are just getting a few different paintings of the same painting but in different colourways, and mashing them up into 3 different sizes to make an overall piece. And then we run over to do our little kiddies room. So let's introduce you to our final sim in this family. That's Julian. So Julian wants to be the playtime captain. He's outgoing and he is a jokester with his dad, Dante, permissive with Lucia, and has a difficult relationship with Reina. He likes green and yellow. He likes electronic music. He doesn't like jazz. He doesn't like homebody sims. He likes rascals and spirited sims. He doesn't like complaints, but he likes jokes and silly behaviour. He likes comedy and he likes fitness. He's a B student, an alarm scout, and he has creativity level 3, mental 3, motor 7, and social 5. Now the bathroom, which like all our other kind of communal grouping areas, is also in a blue theme. Can you believe it? So we're just putting in a double sink moment, because obviously there's a lot of sims in this house, but there is only one bathroom, which is probably a terrible idea for actual play, and how frustrating it is sometimes getting sims ready in the morning before school and work and everything. But space wise, this is all I could fit in. So we just putting around some deco. We put a plant over the toilet, and just throwing down, everything that you need. Basically, bathroom, can't forget, your toilet roll and stuff like that. So we're moving outside, popping up just a couple of bikes for the kids to walk, they probably use those to go to school, since we don't have a school bus anymore in the Sims house there. And doing just some landscaping around, really, to finish off the garden. So we're popping down some rocks to kind of define where that patio-ish kind of area, I suppose, ends and the grassy garden begins. Just create some definition, really. It looks a little bit flat without it, but leaving some space to make sure you can still cross through, little gaps in those rocks to cross through into the grassy garden area. Throwing down a monkey bar set for Julian, since he is way too energetic to be contained just inside of the house. He needs some sort of playground equipment to get that energy out. And adding some plant potting areas, because we don't have like a dedicated big patch back here, because it is still somewhat a small garden, and we need somewhere to get some gardening and flower arranging done for our matriarch. And then we're just adding a little overhead greenhouse kind of topper, and a barbecue. Obviously, who doesn't want a barbecue in the summer? And also, we're in San Sequoia. I feel like it's quite sunny all the time. Now we're adding some planting, again quite curated, simple, tidy, because I think that our mother here would keep that quite on top of it. I was playing around with different colours, but decided to keep it more of like a simple theme for it. And then we're adding some terrain painting just to finish that off. And around all the rocks. Just finishing up really how the house is going to look overall. Making sure we put down some brown patches where Lucia probably kneels down to do her gardening, and where I'm sure a number of times that little boy has been dropping off those monkey bars. Putting it around the trees to show where the roots are. And this is the finished Fernandes' house. A little walk through here, a little scroll around what it looks like, and from back and the front. And that is the first house. So here we pick up with the Ellison's home. So for there we've got another 2 parents, and then we have the teenage son and a toddler daughter. It's a more creative and kind of like free feeling house, more colourful I suppose, more variety in that essence. And I popped down a few really fun bits inside and outside that bring that artsy personality throughout. Just little kind of like homemade aspects that maybe the kids have made with the mum together, which you'll see as we go on later. It's a slightly bigger looking shell, I think, than the neighbours, the Fernandeses. And they don't end up with an integrated garage look like the Fernandeses have, but they do end up with a little drive or parking bay. And colour-wise, I want to keep that same stone from the neighbours, but go for a different and complementary colour from that cream that they have, that white cream they have next door. So it ends up being this green. And I used a mixture of 2 different wallpapers for that as well to have a bit of variety, because otherwise the house kind of looks a bit boxy, but I still wanted to keep this kind of wider look, to keep a variation between the 2 properties. Some complementary variation kind of vibes, yeah. So while we play around with the outside, let's meet our first sim from the Ellison family, and that is going to be Magnolia. So she is the mother of the family, and she has the painter extraordinaire aspiration. She is creative and an art lover, unsurprisingly, but she's also a perfectionist, so she wants to get that art right. So she's jokesters with her husband Kaleb, she's close with her son Kai, and she's supportive of her daughter Cleo. She likes the colours orange, pink, purple and red, and with all these sims, those favourite colours kind of transcribe into their outfits and wallpapers and such in their own bedrooms usually. So that was really fun to do. She also likes retro music and soul music, but she doesn't like hip hop. She likes family motivated sims and idealist sims, but she doesn't like egotistical sims. She likes affection and deep thoughts and discussing interests, but she doesn't like deception and pranks. She likes cross-stitching, painting and photography. She doesn't like programming, research and debate. So she's a painter level 7, which is a colour theory critic. And skills-wise, she has charisma 4, gardening 3, cooking 4, painting 9, writing 3, photography 5, parenting 5 and cross-stitch 3. When looking at the the colours and everything outside here, I ended up bringing in a little bit of that warm kind of orange-ish wood, because of those growing together windows which come that outside frame in white and the inside in various colours. So we went with that warm orange tone. So we put that in the stairs and everything and around other parts of the house as well. And then I realised these windows look a bit bare on both these houses, so we added some flower boxes on both sides. And we're popping and trying around with a bit of, ivy up the house next door, because I realised how bare that section looks by the fence. So we try a couple of different types and end up with this one from, I believe it's from Cottage Living. It just spreads out really, really nice. It comes in like a few different types, so they merge well together when you size up and down as well. It just reaches over that fence in a nice curve really well. So now we start forming the entry pathway for the Ellisons, and I wanted something more free-flowing and bright for them, so we used some terrain painted grassy stones in a slight curve, and surround that with a more free-positioned collection of flowers, like 5 types, I think it is, something like that, of the flowers. And so I figured that while Magnolia might be behind the more creative placement and style of their entry as the artist on the lot, she likely asked for Lucia's help in picking out the right plants and doing all the work for their gardening and landscaping around their property. So here you'll see a curved path kind of just appear around to the back of the house, just like how the Fernandeses have their path. But I ended up removing that later on, as on reflection it just felt a bit too busy for the street scene and everything, and also that allowed me to add in the car area for the Ellisons rather than having the garage. And here we move around to the back of the house. I mirror what we do on the Fernandes' side by adding some hedging in between the fences, and then we're just here bringing everything from the front side of the porch to the back side, just like we did last time, and adding some columns on the corners of the house just for a bit of extra definition for the property. And we end up changing the colour of some windows on the back there, just so it integrates a bit better with the green and the white columns of a theme around that little area. Adding some final windows, which will undoubtedly move around as I build it. We're popping in some post boxes at this random point for some reason, but yeah, we're adding some post boxes, or mailboxes rather, and then we are getting ready to do this porchway. And this was really exciting to do actually. So put lots of really fun things around. So we start with the bikes for the kids, even though our toddler obviously can't ride yet, and then throw around some plants and that really cute fairy plant pot item I thought was perfect, so I figured they would probably made it together as a family. And we have a little bench on that side as well for sitting down. And then adding in these decorations, like paper-made decorations, which I thought the family probably made together. And then you'll see I added a little set of boxes as well on there. In my head I thought that maybe they are from Kaleb's deliveries for all his ingredients. So that was a really fun little touch. So actually it's probably one of my favourite porchway entry-ish kind of areas that I've done in a house in a really long time, because it just felt like it had so much more personality than just kind of a walk-in, a bit more, you know, like how next door is just very much a space that they're walking into the house from. On the right hand side here with the Ellisons, it really feels like it's part of their home. Now while we do some miscellaneous outdoor terrain painting and bits and bobs around the homes, let's introduce you to the next Ellison family member, which is Kaleb Ellison, the father of the family. So he has the Master Chef aspiration, he is creative, a foodie and an overachiever. So I figure maybe he's working all the time on his recipes, he wants to get them perfect, he wants to have like a Michelin star style restaurant, he's really going for it in the culinary career. So he is a jokester with his wife Magnolia, supportive of his son Kai, and close with his daughter Cleo. He likes the colours black and green, he likes alternative music, blues, classical and jazz and soul, but he doesn't like easy listening music and he doesn't like new age music. He doesn't like ambitious sims, he likes family motivated sims, and he likes spirited sims. He likes compliments and discussing hobbies, but he doesn't like gossip or small talk. He likes to bake and cook, but doesn't like video gaming. I'm realising here that I think quite a lot of the parents don't like video gaming. I guess it's very reflective of a few years ago when it was all very like, gaming is the worst thing ever. Anyway, career-wise he is a chef level 9, and that is executive chef. And skill-wise he is mixology 5, charisma 5, gardening 5, gourmet cooking 9, regular cooking 9, baking 7, and parenting level 5. So we're rejoining the house build, having sorted out some floor planning and things around the house. So downstairs we have these 2 separate zones, one for the kitchen side of the house and one for the living area. And then upstairs we have just a hallway with all the bedrooms and a bathroom coming off it. So here we are in the living room, and I wanted to go for more interesting wallpaper rather than just one colour around this house with the blue next door. So we go for this leafy type of wallpaper with some nice panelling and a nice dark wooden floor. It just feels really warm and rich. And we start pulling out all of our potential furniture for this room. We kind of kept it with leatherish feelings, mix of textures from the wood and the leather. And then we're adding a kids area and make sure to include that sheep chair, which is so cute. We pop down a dollhouse and a fake toy box, and then we just pull out everything we're probably going to need for this entrance area in the living room, so a bunch of clutter and everything we get out ready to use later on. And then we just finish the entry with a nice little rug, and we get everything kind of starting to go into place. So we put that basket with the kind of like throws and pillows in the corner, because they have a leather sofa, so I feel like they get quite chilly, don't they, when you sit on them. So they probably would need some comfy, cozy items. And then we clutter up this bookshelf with some games and that little owl figurine. And we pop up some art, but we do change that later to some candles. Popping up the same curtains as next door, just because they fit everywhere so really easily and well. When you have those, the curtain rods to put with the curtains, it just makes things so much easier. I wish we had rod extenders for everything nowadays. So popping up some baskets and things on the walls and some shoe racks all down there. Since they don't have, a separate entryway like the other family, I wanted to make sure they still had a dedicated zone to take off their shoes and put on their coats. So we pop a little stool down and get all that pushed into the wall. And now I love the kitchen in this house. I adore it. So we keep it nice and bright with an orangish, peachy, I guess peachy orange, was it peachy orange? Yeah, peachy orange colour theme. And go for these counters from the Fernandes pack. That took me a while to remember. We do a mixture of orangish and green in here as well, just to keep this house looking bright and creative. Very much that someone who is creative lives here, basically. How many times can I say creative? A million, probably. So we get all these cabinets out, and obviously it's going to be a big and well-stocked kitchen because a chef lives here, of course. And the only downside to using top cabinets in The Sims is that they have a good variation, but sometimes one of the items is almost too distinct to look good when there's multiple of them next to each other, if you get me. So like if you see here, so the small cabinet that goes next to the big cabinets that, you know, sit atop, they all have like a book and like a draping down tea towel, which looks really, really good. But the problem is when you have 3 of them in a row, it just looks weird. Like, why would you do that repeatedly in your own house? So to kind of mitigate that, I rose up some boxes and things just to cover up part of it, so it does look different as you look across. So here we're just getting all of the clutter out to possibly put around the kitchen. Every time in a kitchen, if I have a kitchen with a corner, I'm going to put a load of random stuff in that corner. Usually a plant, usually that spice rack as well, often the knife block too. So we also used the rice cooker and the teapot from the new game. It just felt right, you know. You have a chef, embrace it. Putting around the aprons as well, and then we pick out our table. So we go with the green one here to bring out the green, the tiles, and the second, you know, the oven at the back. I really do love this colour palette. And then using some paintings from City Living to bring it all together. If I had time, I probably would have had our artsy mother make some paintings and put them around, but that's too much. That's too much work. I suppose I could have got them off the gallery actually, but oh well. And then we're just putting up some blinds, just because they are, well, if you think about it, the windows on the right side are facing direct to the neighbours, and the other ones are direct to the front. So you don't want people staring at you all the time while you're cooking. Surely. Well, maybe you do. So now we're going upstairs and we're just bringing up that peachy wallpaper for consistency, and then this little zone here ends up being a art area. So we don't have space for a full studio, a bit like how next door we didn't have a space for a full office for the author father. So while we start with like kind of a generic area here, I'm like, no, we can make better use of the space. So we have a bookcase there in the back, and then we pop in an easel and that really lovely item where you stock all your paints and things. And here I realised, oh, I can use these other items in this house. So I add a quill and a typewriter. So now we move over to the bathroom, and it's quite similar to the neighbour's bathroom really. And again, I apologise, there is only one bathroom and this one doesn't even have a double sink, sorry. But that's just all I could fit. So this one is a much darker tealy colour. I feel like Magnolia would love this colour. And then we look at their bedroom actually next. You can see that kind of teal colour does translate over there as well. I played around between purple and teal for the walls quite a lot. I went back and forth so many times, but ended up going for that dark tealy colour and then using the purple as an accent, and then change my mind and go for gold. And then go for more, you know, embrace that a little bit more. So then we move around a bit and shimmy around lots of items, and decided to raise that candle on top of a set of books, so it really looks lived in and like they are moving stuff around all the time. And then we pop down some plants and some curtains to finish the room off, and end it with a teal and yellow theme for that room in the end. It's really, really nice. It really pops well together, I think. So now we go across to our toddler's bedroom. So this is very much pink princess, head in the clouds kind of a bedroom. And I popped lots of little painting things around. I figured the mum probably drew for her, just to make it a bit more personal. So shall we introduce this second to last sim? So this is Cleo Ellison's room. So Cleo is a silly toddler. She is close with her father Kaleb. She has a supportive relationship with Magnolia, her mum, and she has a jokester's relationship with her brother Kai. So she has movement 3, communication 3, thinking 3, imagination 5, and potty level 2. And now we move across to her brother's bedroom. So this is Kai Ellison's bedroom, and he is a musical genius aspiration. He is creative, but he is lactose intolerant. And he is close with his mum Magnolia. He has a supportive relationship with Kaleb, his dad, and like I said before, he's jokesters with Cleo. He loves the colours blue and red. He likes alternative music, blues, DJ booth, classical, hip-hop, jazz, Latin pop and soul. He's a musician, he likes a lot of music, but he does not like easily listening music or new age music. He doesn't like ambitious Sims, he doesn't like pessimistic Sims, but he does like hardworking Sims and high-energy Sims. He doesn't like arguments or malicious interactions, but he likes deep thoughts, discussing hobbies, discussing interests and stories. He likes to DJ mix, play guitar, piano, sing and play violin, but he does not like to fish or garden. He is a B-level student and he is in the barista career, but just level 1. For skills, he has video gaming 4, charisma 4, DJ mixing 3, writing 3, violin 6, piano 7, comedy 2, painting 3, cooking 4, guitar 6 and singing 6. So a lot of skills on his side. Up next is the back garden. So we've already added a more pro style barbecue and a comfy relaxing sofa area out on that back porch, and then we pop in a dining area out back just with a picnic table, surround that with some flowers and foliage just to zone it out on its own, down its own little pathway, which we do change to be the same pathway as is used up front later on. And we build in a sandbox and pop in some toys, and then we also add in the paddling pool item, which essentially makes it so that Cleo has her own beach in the backyard if you think about it, which is quite fun. Going in hot days between the beach, aka the sandpit, and the paddling pool. So yeah, here we are changing the terrain painting, getting it all the way down that path, and you'll see that I pulled out a beehive. And we do keep the beehive and we move it around a bit, like right now it's here but it does move, because I thought that maybe Kaleb likes to make his own honey for all his recipes and maybe he sells that on the side as well. So eventually the honey area moves down the side of the house and has a kind of a workbench, like a fake workbench behind it, and some flower decals on the wall. Maybe that's where he bottles up his honey before he goes and sells it or uses it himself. And then the last thing we do to the back garden later on is add in a secondary painting place. Just got a rug underneath it and a little basket, just so there's a second place really that Magnolia can paint from rather than just upstairs. She might want to take in the outside and the fresh air, you know? And now we're back at the front of the house. You can see I've deleted the pathway from before, and this is where I try to kind of put together their driveway. So I'd realised that it's still too busy with all the flowers around it, so we make it a bit simpler. So it ends up just being a tarmac spot with some rocks around it, and overhead we add some string lights, just to add a bit more ambience and just make it a bit more welcoming really when you drive up to your driveway, day or night. So here we're coming towards the end of the build, and if you'd like to download it, you're very welcome to. It's on the gallery and my name is Tess Sophia on there, all one word. So yes, do feel free to download it if you'd like to play with this family or just the house in general, or the two houses rather in general. You can also get the families on there. They'll be together as one household. The relationships probably won't be quite the same when you download it, just because the gallery doesn't carry them over. So right now we've got some like really tight friendships going on which won't carry over, but I'll put some cheats down in the description and you can just use them to basically level the relationships and get their sentiments and things, which is really helpful for setting up gameplay actually if you use those cheats. I did use them to start the gameplay. I didn't do it all myself in real time, building those relationships and things. So yeah, you're very welcome to download the families and the houses off the gallery, and I hope you really enjoy playing with them. It was really fun to build this property, and hope to show you some more here. Thank you for watching. Dag dag!